Hey, church family, thank you for joining us for today's Daily Connection video as we are continuing to talk about how we can have confidence during conflict. And conflict is obviously something that we're going to have. We're going to have conflict as we walk through this life because we don't agree with everyone. Not everyone agrees with each other. And how we respond to that conflict matters. And oftentimes with conflict comes anger. You could be angry. Someone could be angry at you. I know that I get angry at times in the midst of conflict. But anger isn't always bad. There's really two types of anger. One is selfish anger, and the other is righteous anger. Now, James 1:20 tells us that man's anger, which is selfish anger, accomplishes nothing. And selfish anger's only desire is for self. It's not worried about anyone else but you and how you feel or how I feel. It doesn't matter. The person who is angry, that's the center of selfish anger. But righteous anger is really just the opposite. Righteous anger doesn't seek to cause destruction. Righteous anger seeks to defend the Lord, to look and see how something could be offensive to God. It's not concerned with self. It's concerned with the image of God. And it's righteous anger is a good anger, and that's really what we read about here in Ephesians chapter 4, 26 through 27. It says, be angry and do not sin, right? So be angry and do not sin. That anger must be a righteous anger. Selfish anger always leads to sin because it's destruction. It wants to destroy things, right? It's concerned with self, makes us concerned with ourselves. But righteous anger is an anger that can exist without sin. However, we can't just leave it there. We can't just be righteously angry and not resolve it, because that righteous anger then turns to selfish anger. And that's why Paul writes, be angry and do not sin. Don't let the sun go down on your anger, and don't give the devil an opportunity. Even righteous anger can create problems. And so when we have righteous anger, we can be angry and then take that and be motivated to resolve and reconcile whatever the circumstance may be. And we can do that without being ugly to people. We can do that without them ever even knowing that we're angry. But it's important that we resolve those situations. And the reason why that's so important is the world around us is watching us. And if we don't resolve conflict that we exist in, it tears down our character just a bit. And the more our character is torn down, the more our witness is torn down. So, Christian, it is important. Yes, be anger, a righteous anger. Anger for the many lives that are lost every day of unborn children. Anger for the people that are persecuted for their faith. Anger at the sin that exists in our world and how it rules over people, how people are oftentimes so entrapped in their sin that they're blind and it causes them to do awful things, murder and rape and stealing and so forth and so on. Be angry about those things. Be angry about those who blaspheme our Lord, who preach heresy. And they're everywhere. I saw some today. Be angry about that. But then turn and look, if you can, to resolve that. That way our witness and our character is not torn down, and ultimately we are image bearers of Christ and we uphold that image. So our author gives us a couple of questions for us to look at. The first is, what's the difference between selfish anger and righteous anger? I think we've talked about that some today. I would encourage you, maybe look at some examples of that. What are some examples of righteous anger and selfish anger? Maybe even think about some examples where you have been selfishly angry and you have been righteously angry. And then the second question, why is it so important to resolve even appropriate anger quickly? Why is that important? Church family, I hope that you'll take some time to work through this. I think that this is an important part of our faith. It's a part that oftentimes is overlooked or dismissed, and it's something that we need to be really serious about, and that is how we can be angry without sinning. Church family, as you work through that, I want you to know that we love you and we're praying for you.